Hey, what's up, family? Chad at Aswithin Emancipation Project here, and I just wanted to hop on here real quick and give you a little reminder and some reassurance that you are a success. The majority of people on this planet are successful if we look at success in the right way. I wanted to remind you that if you want to be free, if you want to be mentally and emotionally free, we have to let go of these ideas that society has given us to measure our success. It's part of our worldview. How do we look at ourselves? How do we look at others? How do we value ourselves? How do we value others? Society has told us and shown us at every turn, everywhere we look, that success really just means you've either got some sort of high degree, you've completed this formal education at an institution, or that you're really good at making enough material dollar bills, making enough money to pay someone else to live. You know, your bills are paid for, you have food, shelter, water, electricity, this and that. And those things are important, and they might be something that we can have goals to aspire towards, but we really need to ask ourselves, what is our metric for success? How do we measure success? And I believe, I know that the most important measure of success is whether or not you're a moral person. Are you moral or are you immoral? What are your values? How do you conduct yourself in the world? And if you shift your perspective and change the way you measure success, all the financial stuff and the material things and paying your bills and keeping up with the Joneses and stuff will come along if you still want them after you really change the way you measure your success. So, do you initiate harm towards other people? Do you commit fraud towards other people? Do you threaten your neighbors and take their money or hurt them physically? Do you abuse them psychologically? What do you do? How do you conduct yourself in the world? This should be your measure of success. If you answered no to those questions, you are successful. And the majority of the people in this world are successful. They don't initiate harm or violence or fraud or coercion or threats to their neighbors. So I just wanted to remind you today that you are already successful. You don't have to strive and kick and scream against everything going on in your life so that you meet mom, dad, teachers, coaches, doctors, everybody's, their measure of success for what people should be doing in the world. If you are a moral person, you are more successful than anyone who has all that money or all those degrees and does harm other people, or they do commit acts of fraud or deception or aggression towards their neighbor. So let that be the starting point for how you measure your success, and you will free your energy up. You're going to free your creative power up to find solutions to paying the bills and getting the education and doing all those other things you want to do when you're not tied up in this vicious cycle of self-doubt, self-loathing, self-hatred, lack of self-respect, lack of self-love, because you're basing your measure of success on what someone has told you. When you stop doing that and measure it off something real, like whether you're a good person, whether you're a moral person, when you stop measuring it off other people's ideas that have been given to you, then you'll be able to pursue and you'll attract a lot more readily those things that do make life a little bit easier. But they're not true measures for success. So don't forget that. You are successful. If you do not harm or initiate aggression, violence, fraud, deception, whatever, if you don't do any of that to your neighbor or your family members or your children or your friends, if you don't hurt people and you don't allow people to hurt you or your neighbor, you're already as successful as you could possibly be. Now, when you stop loathing and you stop being angry or having resentment towards yourself for not meeting someone else's standards, you continue to meet your standard of success, which is morality, which is goodness, and doing right things in the world. You measure your success against that, and you're going to do away with all sorts of conflict and issues and turmoil within yourself, and you're going to create order. And that order is going to reflect in your life around you. It's going to reflect outwardly. You're going to be able to attract and pursue and find solutions to all these other bullshit problems. Okay? So love yourself and forgive yourself. Tell yourself you are successful and continue not hurting anyone. Much love to you people. I love you, family.